The Canadian Grand Prix, 70 laps then ahead of us. All 5 lights are on. And it's lights out, and away we go. It's a very good start there by Sebastian Vettel. Mark Webber already pressurising Nico Rosberg, and he's going to squeeze down the inside of Bottas as well. Vettel gets away quickly from Hamilton. There's Rosberg. Webber goes around the outside of Valtteri Bottas. Fernando Alonso in a good position. And there's Jean-Eric Vergne making a challenge on Adrian Sutil down towards the first of the chicanes. Pretty much single file through there. Great start by Sebastian Vettel already. Valtteri Bottas losing position and under pressure from Fernando Alonso.
What did Mark Webber say to me on the grid? I am going to pass him as quickly as I can, and he was certainly determined to do that. Bottas getting squeezed down into turn 1, handled it well, but look, he's got Alonso coming at him now. He moves to the inside to cover off the normal turn-in point, but Alonso will not be able to sweep in from there, so Bottas not giving in easily, but he'll be slow through the exit now. No DRS, of course, for the first 2 laps.
And down towards the hairpin they go now. Vettel, Hamilton, Rosberg, Webber, and then Bottas and Alonso. Alonso going around the outside, might try and swoop through. Bottas has him covered, though. Sutil has Jean-Eric Vergne covered as well. And there's Paul di Resta making up a couple of places behind Jenson Button. Now, down the long straight, has the Ferrari finally got the speed advantage to get past Valtteri Bottas? Yes, Fernando Alonso does move up into 5th place by the time they take the chicane. And we get towards the end of this first lap. Unsteady under braking. Nico Hülkenberg has to go straight on through the chicane. It's Vettel, Hamilton, Rosberg, Webber, Alonso and Bottas, then Vergne and Sutil, Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, who has now dropped down a couple of places. Perez, Maldonado, Massa, Button, di Resta, Van der Garde, Gutierrez, Pic, Grosjean, Bianchi and Chilton. As we ride on board with Felipe Massa now. Giedo van der Garde made a decent start as well. Should mention him up to 17th as we ride on board with Massa. He's got the Williams in his sights. The Williams have passed to Maldonado. Has he done enough to get past into the chicane? Yes, he has.
Webber could go faster if he could clear the Mercedes.
So there, the first 3 getting away well, but then Rosberg very much under pressure straight away with Bottas and Webber going into turn 1.
Bottas handled that very well. Would have been very easy to be the cork in the bottle there, just put up in the air, but it wouldn't let Webber go too easily down there into turn 3, but had a sensible tablet when he got there, but that put Alonso all over the back of him.
Now, you mentioned Kimi Raikkonen. Let's have a look at his start now. Nico Hülkenberg to his left, and able to use a little bit of curves on the short run down to turn 1.
Yeah, so he can go around the outside there, but can he find any traction, any purchase into the racetrack? And it appears not for Perez, who's remaining in 12th place at the moment. Grosjean still down in 20th.
Yeah, being even more patient, and this is what it really looks like from the cockpit of a Formula 1 racing car at the start. You can see Bottas using his mirrors there, looking to see who's coming at him, and he's getting sandwiched between a Mercedes and a Red Bull.
Yeah, they're 1.8 metres wide, these cars, and he didn't have too much more than that there, did he?
No, breathe in as you go around turns 1 and 2. Mark Webber on his outside, and then ahead of him we can now just see Felipe Massa and Pastor Maldonado in there. Skirmishes, had to take to the curb, did Massa. Eventually managed to get him a course later on in that lap. And looking now, Fernando Alonso weaving his way through out of the chicane and on the run down to the hairpin, and the speed of the Ferrari making that overtake possible, but not on that occasion managing to get past. Much better traction, though, getting out of that left-hander.
Yeah, Bottas slightly offline. He would have had to have delayed putting the throttle on there. But he still wouldn't let Alonso go. Alonso then breezes past him down the next straight. And this is what was going on, but this is what caught Hülkenberg out. They all backed up quite a lot behind Valtteri Bottas. And we've seen so many cars bouncing a horrible curb there. But there is a tiny little road they can escape through to get back onto the racetrack.
If you find that little gap, you take the penalty by losing a place, because you've got to pick your way through it at less speed. And look, there's Jean-Eric Vergne and Valtteri Bottas going into the first turn. Bottas has got himself on the outside once again, and Vergne manages to pop up now into 6th place, and Sutil fancies a little go under braking into the chicane, and Sutil gets tagged and spins round, and Ricciardo takes to the grass, and Raikkonen behind him. Sutil manages to carry on, and thankfully nobody managed to hit the spinning Force India, but we've seen accidents and crashes there before, and Sutil tried the overtake, but it just came off the wrong way for him.
That was a miraculous escape, I have to say. I don't know if they did actually touch, whether he got on the throttle a little bit too anxiously there.
12th and 13th, the McLaren and the Ferrari. And Paul di Resta and then Pastor Maldonado coming together at the hairpin. Sorry, Adrian Sutil coming together with Pastor Maldonado at the hairpin. There's damage to the front wing of Maldonado's Williams as he was just a little later on his brakes, locked up and can control. Sometimes it doesn't actually do him too much harm, but we can see a replay now once again. Watch out for the Williams arriving late, locking up. And Jenson Button squeezing through on the inside there as well.
Now, that's going to damage some strakes on the back of Sutil's car as well, underneath. I don't know if it connected with his tyre, but he's had a miserable lap and a half, hasn't he?
Yep. All started with an overtaking chance, this one.
I think he just got pinched on the apex a little bit and had to get off the throttle and turn the wheel, and that was enough to send the back round. He was pretty sharp on getting it going again. Wasn't he just?
You just lose so many places in the early stages. Didn't know if they just glanced wheels or not.
They may have done.
You can probably see a little bit better. It's a horrible little corner, this, Martin, isn't it?
Yeah, he just pinched him on the apex, and as he got out of the throttle, the torque reversal just locked up the rear tyres.
Sebastian Vettel, 4.4 seconds clear now. We're watching Kimi Räikkönen behind Daniel Ricciardo, and he's been very close to Ricciardo for quite some time. Can't get past him. There's Perez and Massa scrapping away a little bit further behind as well.
That was Massa for position there. He's taken that away from Perez.
Okay, Paul, so to manually use the RS, we need to override it, and that is default 7.6 accept, if you haven't already done that. Default 7.6 accept.
And di Resta, an opening 9 laps, and I'm sure he'd like to forget. And there's Felipe Massa and Nico Hülkenberg, and Massa putting himself up into the top 10 now. The Canadian Grand Prix, Sebastian Vettel blazing a trail out in front and lighting up the concrete a bit there. Too close and hit it.
That's surprising. Trying to go down the outside of Kimi Räikkönen.
Well, can he DRS open for Räikkönen, but also for Massa as well? This is going to be touch and go going into turn 1. They're side by side. Räikkönen on the inside manages to stay ahead, but he's just overshot the corner. And no.
Adrian, you've got some damage to the rear wing.
Watch now, Felipe Massa in the background, and then rapid rate of knots. Here's Kimi Räikkönen having a little look on Daniel Ricciardo going into the final chicane. And Räikkönen squirming away on the exit by the wall of champions as well, pushing as hard as he can. Now comes out from behind the wheels of the Toro Rosso, moves his way past Daniel Ricciardo, almost took off the front wing of Felipe Massa in the process.
And you are on plan A, and it's target +2 at the moment, target +2.
So Hamilton, even though setting a decent pace, is actually extending the life of that stint as far as Mercedes are concerned. Now, DRS available for Felipe Massa down the long straight towards the final chicane. Now he can get the DRS open. You just saw the white line disappearing rather quickly. He's alongside Daniel Ricciardo. Massa moving himself up. Oh, not quite. As the Toro Rosso bails out of this and goes into the pit.
Okay, Lewis, we want 3 to 4 laps at this pace.
I'm pushing.
Okay, Lewis, doing a great job. Nico 4/10 slower last lap. He's currently holding up Webber. So rear casing temperatures in danger zone. Rear casing in danger zone at the moment.
The target is 25 more laps on this set. 25.
Yeah, well, let's see if he can do that.
He's on the medium at least.
Yeah, exactly. And the medium also for Mark Webber. And Webber being told on the radio that, look, Rosberg is on the super soft. A different strategy from you. He will be weak at the end of his stint when the tyres start to turn to jam. So
good point though, Ted, because Mark, they're completely staying out of the slipstream down the pit straight.
Okay, Lewis, so we're going to the other tyre. We're going to the other tyre. So box, pit confirm.
And switching strategy down at Mercedes as well. Super soft tyre on the first stint for Lewis Hamilton. Medium compound tyre going on then for this, his second stint. And there you can see Nico Rosberg and Mark Webber going through the final chicane. Hamilton now out of the confines of the pit lane. The limits are off. He can speed up from 100 kilometres an hour, and he is still comfortably ahead then of his teammate Nico Rosberg, back out into the racetrack in second place. Felipe Massa is right behind the Sauber of Esteban Gutiérrez. He's managed to get himself ahead of Valtteri Bottas on this particular lap, and he's not going to be stuck behind Gutiérrez for much longer if he can help it. With the aid of DRS down the main straight, Massa puts himself up then into 12th place. For this man, Valtteri Bottas, in the opening stages, he's down in 14th after starting in 3rd, but Gutiérrez, for the second time in subsequent laps, is going to get past, and this time on the back straight, as Bottas moves past the Sauber, and there's Sergio Perez right on Gutierrez's tail as well.
Yeah, he's out of the points at the moment, is Bottas. It's not gone as well as I thought it might, if I'm honest. Perez, Gutierrez.
Perez has the inside line here. Gutierrez has to yield. Didn't want to make contact there. Perez pops himself up past the Sauber and into 14th place.
Raikkonen's doing 21.1. He's 2 seconds off the pace. And it's a relatively short pit stop, as we've said, so...
But maybe looking for the one stop for Lotus might leave you vulnerable at the latter stages. But if any car can do it to great effect here, it's probably that one.
The rest are going along nicely. P8 at the moment, down in the low 1 minute 20s as well.
Here's Massa and Adrian Sutil going into the first corner, and Sutil squeezes Massa past. He goes, the Ferrari. Massa just had to back off there. Sensible driving from the man behind. Sutil not about to yield. How on earth do you do that? I wonder. He's currently 2 seconds a lap slower than Sebastian Vettel as it is. On board now with the Toro Rosso of Jean-Eric Verne, past Kimi Raikkonen, who's obviously saving a little bit of fuel down that back straight, and into the pits he comes. Ted.
Yeah, he's coming straight towards me. Oh, Kimi, if the brake problem wasn't bad enough.
Be good news, I'm sure, for Fernando Alonso, but there's absolutely nothing the Ferrari can do with the pace of Sebastian Vettel at the moment. Meanwhile, this Ferrari has finally got his man, Felipe Massa. Let's just see what happened down the back straight. Sutil moves his way past Button.
That looks like a problem for Jensen to me. He has been having gearbox issues, hasn't he? But
yeah,
he slowed a lot there. And he slowed again. Oh dear.
Well, Felipe Massa moving past. And there's Felipe Massa and Adrian Sutil going into the final chicane. Lock up from Massa. It's a cracking duel. It's just going on for lap after lap after lap, and still Massa can't find a way through.
3 cars in front at least are on 2 stops.
See how far adrift he's getting now of this Massa-Sutil battle. 9th and 10th for the Force India and the Ferrari. Now, is Felipe Massa going to give it another go down into turn 1? He's certainly getting closer. He's right on the broken rear wing of Adrian Sutil, trying to go around the outside of turn 1, and once again, Adrian cuts him off.
I don't believe was as they turned in.
Yeah, this is Mark Webber and Nico Rosberg in the battle for the final podium place at the moment. Webber an awful lot closer and had to go under the grass a bit, and did very well to save the car going through that final chicane.
Button in front looks to be struggling on these tyres. Pool data really does look very healthy for these tyres, so push. It's an excellent job so far. Quality drive, keep going.
And Webber pushing once again, and once again Nico Rosberg just about hangs on to 3rd place
Alonso
before he has to turn in. Now where's Fernando Alonso in the proceedings here? Does he spy an opportunity behind Mark Webber? Bit lock up there, another lock up there from Nico Rosberg, and he's gone far too deep into that first turn. And he's there for the taking, Mark Webber thinks, but Webber just can't manage to squeeze past the Mercedes. Not down the inside, not down the outside either by the time they get to the chicane. There's Fernando Alonso right on Mark Webber's tail as the 3 of them snake their way through the trees.
Rosberg stretching the limit of the rules for moving around the racetrack.
Looks to the outside once more, closes right up on Nico Rosberg, and has he got good traction now to have a go down this straight? He's an awful lot closer than he has been in the last few laps. He's right in the slipstream behind that rear wing of the Mercedes. Alonso is there waiting to pounce with DRS as well. Webber moves to the left-hand side, gets past Rosberg. Alonso has to stay past the Mercedes for this moment. But now, with DRS available once again, can he get him down towards the first turn? Rosberg seems to me to be losing places. Yes, he has. 2 places within the space of 2 straights. He now pops down into 5th, Webber up in a 3rd, and Alonso into 4th.
Red Bull passing a Mercedes in a straight line.
Yeah, normally the top speed of the Mercedes is an awful lot more, but this track, vastly different. Don't need quite as much downforce here in Canada as you would at other circuits, Barcelona, say, for instance. And there's Alonso getting the job done as well. Easy for him in the end.
Next up the road, Lewis Hamilton.
He's a long way up the road, though. 10 seconds clear. Mark Webber now putting in the best middle sector. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton not having those tyre problems, or not seemingly having those tyre problems. There he is, running in second place at the moment on, it has to be said, the medium compound tyre. But he's a long way behind our race leader, Sebastian Vettel, who's got away well and absolutely scorched a blazing trail in the sunshine here in Montreal in the opening laps, pushing as hard, I think, as we've seen any race leader push in the opening stages of a race during the course of this season.
He's playing dare with the wall everywhere, isn't he? Incredible, as Mark Webber now goes fastest. So 10.2 seconds the gap to Hamilton now.
Looking better now for Mark Webber. Now he's got past this man.
You are going to the end of the race on this set. 39 laps to go. You need to look after the tyres to get 39 laps out of it.
Was that an order?
And the good news is, Rolling Stones are playing this evening.
Just because you've got tickets. Sergio Perez gets past Valtteri Bottas, and Perez puts himself up into 11th place, and there's Kimi Räikkönen, the man who really has been struggling in the opening half of this race, right on Bottas's tail. Räikkönen with brake pedal problems, with a problem in the pit stop, trying to get round Bottas. Has he managed to do it on the exit of turn 4? No, has to slot behind the Williams once again. Räikkönen running out of the points places as it stands at the moment. Lewis Hamilton suffering DRS problems with back markers absolutely everywhere here for the race leaders.
Well, we've still got 22 runners, David.
Yeah.
No retirements at the moment.
Okay, Fernando, safety car window is open, safety car window is open, Hamilton è 11 secondi davanti a noi, sta spingendo e gli guadagniamo 3 decimi al giro.
Safety car window is open.
Long
Ferrari.
message. Yeah, so in other words, if there was a safety car now, I suspect they'd pit.
Are the rest as well, but his tyres look slightly more worn than those behind.
And let's not forget Jean-Eric Vergne, still up there in 6th place. Di Resta, 1.6 behind him. Two drivers who've done a great job in this race, and Grosjean, of course, up in 8th, who started 22nd and last.
And there the Lotus and the Williams of Kimi Räikkönen and Valtteri Bottas, the two Finns in this race. Now Räikkönen ahead, up into 12th place. Both, of course, have been lapped.
0.8. So what's happened? Here's what's happened to Mark Webber. He's been shoved by, and does that damage his left front wing?
What is Van der Garde doing here, Martin? He's being lapped by Mark Webber. He's got hit by Webber, trying to take a much closer line going to that hairpin than you would expect a back marker to be doing.
Yeah, I think, he has. He's broken his front wing.
Yeah.
Badly. I think Mark thought he'd opened the door for him with the blue flags. Van der Garde might find himself taking a penalty with that.
Well, he should have been opening the door for him.
Yes, he should. Leaders coming through. Oh dear, oh dear.
And eventually that front wing end plate falling right off. And Ted, has that prompted any movement in the Red Bull garage? Can you see? Brilliant. We'll talk to you again in a bit if that's okay, Graham, because look, here goes Fernando Alonso on Mark Webber, and Alonso just cuts in front of the Red Bull there. Webber knew he was there and managed to keep away, and Alonso is now up into the top 3. It's been a long time coming for him, but it's Vettel, Hamilton and Alonso now on lap 42. The podium places here in Montreal.
Mark has looked pretty cautious on the brakes, unsurprisingly, since he lost that chunk of front wing. And this then with DRS, with Kurz, and with the right line. It came at Mark so quickly. I think he almost caught him by surprise.
Which is super to see. Ted, down to you.
Yeah, what a cracking drive from Paul Di Resta. Started on the medium tyre, the harder tyre, which explains how he's managed to go so far before a pit stop. Indeed, hasn't Sutil, his teammate, done 2 stops already, David?
That's right.
Which means that Sutil's done 2 already, and Di Resta hasn't done any, which you don't see very often in Formula One. But he's been told to push to just get to the end of the life of these medium tyres. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many points he's going to end up with, but great drive so far.
Yep, he's the next man that will be lapped by Sebastian Vettel as Romain Grosjean is passed just then.
Alonso still 8.1 behind Hamilton. That gap's now pretty much stabilised.
Yeah, it's not quite got the race pace, that Ferrari, that many were
Our briefings this morning, and a lot of people talking about wet start to the race. They get off these medium compound tyres as soon as you can. They've turned out to be the stars of the race, those tyres, haven't they, in terms of performance?
Okay, Checo Jensen is the car behind now. We are racing him. We are racing Jensen.
So that is not a radio call I expected to hear.
Well, you know, McLaren might as well let them race. You know, as you say, they're both out of the points, and you know, maybe this time it might work out a little bit more friendly than we've seen in Bahrain and Monaco. Mark Webber comes into the pits for another pit stop. You can just see him at 100 kilometers an hour, and the crew waiting for him.
They're not
what's going
changing
on
the
here?
front wing. They're not changing it. They haven't given him any. Oh, right rear. Was that a little bit slow? They haven't given him any. We've got a slow Williams there. I thought they might give him a little. Sorry, it's a Sauber.
Now there's a broken front wing there as well on Giedo van der Garde's Caterham, and they're all having to watch out for him as he stays well off the racing line. Van der Garde's got a big problem with that front wing scraping along the ground. Mark Webber started on the super soft tyre, now gone medium, so maybe the team's thinking, oh, that front wing's completely gone, Martin. And he needs to just pull over, doesn't he?
Well, it's clear of the danger zone, which is when it goes right under your front tyres. It's gone beyond that, but he's going to be dropping a lot of debris. That's dangerous at that point. It's going to burn a hole in his tyre as well, for good measure.
Yeah, it's kind of just flapping around, goes straight on at the chicane. There's a little speed bump on the exits down at turn 9 as Fernando Alonso now comes into the pits whilst we watch Giedo van der Garde to make his second stop in this race. Medium compound tyre going on once again, so the team's working out that what was the best race tyre is now not the tyre they want to be on. And Van der Garde is off and out. On the run down to the hairpin is where he stops, and this is where it all started. Hülkenberg, and just a slight tap, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if Hülkenberg's got a damaged left rear. He has.
Suspension failure or something. Copy, Nico. Can you come back? I don't think it's safe in the quick sector. Okay, Nico, stop. Remember curse jump.
Lewis Hamilton now into the pits once again, so Mercedes covering that pit stop.
Yeah, and it's a good time as well with the yellow flags out, where double wave yellows, so they have to really demonstrate they're slowing down. Just going to put him. Can he just get out ahead of the McLaren?
Well, the two McLarens have already been lapped by Hamilton, so he's behind Perez and ahead of Jenson Button as he comes out on the track. So
tyres are good. Okay to push to the end. Tyres are easy. Push till the end.
That's what we want to hear.
yeah,
Race leader then pits.
Sebastian Vettel.
They could give it a wash and polish as well if they wanted.
Yeah, no squeegee men out on duty in the pit lane here like they are in downtown Montreal. With a nice regulation pit stop for Sebastian Vettel, and back out onto the track he comes with nobody really around him at all. He's got the freedom of the Ile de Notre Dame at the moment.
Kimi Räikkönen. So that's it. Oh, as we see a very big lock-up here from the Mercedes. That won't help. Interesting, I thought that Vettel put the medium tyres back on, the harder compound. Just belt and braces stuff.
Yeah, I think they're all starting to now. They've realised that these medium compound tyres are the ones to be on. So we watch. Just he's struggling a little bit into turn 1 there.
He's gone right through.
Yeah.
You kind of wonder why he's pushing so hard, don't you? You know, you're going to get gravel, you can pick up a puncture, you're going to get grass in your radiator ducts.
Well, the thing is, if he's in a rhythm and he's got a flow, then you carry on at that pace. And Felipe Massa, meanwhile, has Romain Grosjean ahead of him, but for not much longer, I'd have thought, on the medium compound tyre. Grosjean, after his one stop on the super softs, is easy prey for the Brazilian, and Massa moves himself into the points now and up into 10th place. Kimi Räikkönen is next ahead of him, so maybe McLaren still have a chance.
We may catch Hamilton by the end of the race. Still got a chance of catching Hamilton. Keep up the pace, keep pushing.
And certainly Fernando Alonso is catching Lewis Hamilton. Mark's pushing at about the same speed as Lewis at the moment.
So Nico, we'd like to pull more of a gap to Verne, and then we can do a precautionary pit stop to change tyres. It's just flat spotted.
Team ready?
Okay, Lewis traction metrics are under 2,000 and the temps are looking good.
Please just let me drive, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a geek, but I don't understand metrics are under 2,000.
Ted, I want to know all about it in your notebook at the end of this race.
Okay, I'll have to find out.
If I don't hear metrics 2,000, I should be thoroughly disappointed.
Well, we heard them warn them before that the metrics are, was it about 8,000 or something? So that sounds very good.
You know, we remark about the pace of that Red Bull, but the pace of the Force India today has been very, very impressive as well. Now, into DRS territory we go, and Lewis Hamilton already using Kers to try and defend against Fernando Alonso, but Hamilton has DRS as well that he can use because of Sutil in front of him. He now gets out of the way as he's lapped by Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, and through the final chicane they go. Second place for Hamilton, third place for the flying Fernando Alonso behind him. We complete lap 59 and the gap is down to 0.4 of a second. There he is, getting much closer. He's going to have a go on the exit of the chicane. Lewis Hamilton, half a car length ahead of Fernando Alonso as they go wheel to wheel, turning left-handed down towards the hairpin. Hamilton's got the inside line. Alonso just makes him yield, and they almost come to a stop, the pair of them.
Yeah, it was quite good there, because Lewis parked his car on the apex while he sorted himself out. And that was enough to give him the break he needs. But look at the straight line speed of that Ferrari. Hamilton goes to the inside to block him, but he'll have a very tight line through that corner, which will give Alonso tremendous exit speed and DRS.
Second place, so tantalisingly close for Fernando Alonso. Now he switches to the right-hand side, and they touch wheels as into turn one they go, but Alonso moves himself up into second place, and Hamilton has to give up that second spot that he's held for so long. Alonso and Hamilton touching wheels, seemingly both coming off untroubled, and it's the Ferrari ahead of the Mercedes.
Face to face with the tyre, but he was always going to get better exit speed here, and of course he's got the DRS open, and the right line into turn one. Still chooses the middle part of the lap though, the middle part of the track I should say.
Let's just see the view sideways facing from the front of Lewis Hamilton's car. Ooh, caused a few vibrations, didn't it?
Yeah.
From Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel being kept up to date, being told by his engineer, okay, it's Alonso now in second place.
I don't know if
but
this battle's, Ted, I'm just going to cut in. This battle might not be over just yet, you know. Hamilton kept within DRS zone, and they've made contact again, because there's a piece falling off either the front wing of Hamilton's Mercedes or the rear of that Ferrari as through the final chicane they go, and on now down towards turn one. But they've certainly made contact once more, Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. So 5 laps remaining here.
That's why Lewis got so close to them. He got a bit of a tank slapper on through 10.
That's where you just see the piece fly off. I think it was from Lewis's front wing. Those yellow flags down by the first corner. That's Esteban Gutiérrez in the Sauber, and he's gone into the barriers.
It's not an easy place to get a car away from. I'd have thought they should just leave it there and finish the motor race. They can hang a yellow flag out with 4 to go.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you can push it back. Well, they're there with the crane.
I hate to see it. I nearly hit one of those once. I hate to see those things out there.
Especially in the wet.
I think there's less peril just leaving the car there, frankly, than bringing that thing out. Look at this. This is for position.
It is Massa and Räikkönen. He now has to switch to the left-hand side, and he manages to squeeze ahead of the Lotus on the penultimate lap for these two and move himself up, Felipe Massa, into 8th place. While he does that, his teammate Fernando Alonso sets the fastest lap of the race again. Mark Webber then sets a new fastest lap of the race, but they're just scrapping for some sort of honour there, as Sebastian Vettel on the last lap has now gone quickest through the first sector. onwards. He marches down towards the hairpin for one more final time. It has been a supreme race for the championship leader.
It has. He's had a poor middle sector though, so with that traffic he's not going to try and do the fastest lap, but Sebastian Vettel then with 15 seconds comfortable lead.
For Red Bull and for Sebastian Vettel, it's going to be a winning feeling once again, an unusual winning feeling. They'd never won in Canada before 2013, but boy have they been impressive today. Sebastian Vettel wins in Montreal, takes the checkered flag, somewhere around 15 seconds clear. Fernando Alonso comes home second. Lewis Hamilton completes the podium places.
Fantastic, Seb. You won the Canadian Grand Prix. Fantastic, makes up for 2 years ago. Brilliant drive, fantastic.
Yes! We won Canada! Thank you, boys. Thank you. Car was amazing. The car was absolutely amazing. Thank you, boys. Sorry for the little off towards the end, but the car was fantastic. Woohoo! Yes!
And Adrian Sutil takes the final points place, which means that McLaren, for the first time in 65 races, do not finish in the points. And this on a track where they'd won 5 times in the last 7 years. Perez and Button finishing 11th and 12th. And after them, sadly, Romain Grosjean couldn't do more than 13th. Valtteri Bottas, who started third on the grid, just didn't have the pace in the dry. Ricciardo, Maldonado, Bianchi, Pique, Chilton were the ones to take the checkered flag. We lost both Saubers and Van der Garde in the Caterham, but it is a Canadian Grand Prix where they'll be talking long into the night round here.